okay? I'm talking about the ability to create so much opportunity for your business, so many clients and customers coming to you that you get to write your own paycheck each and every week, plus have the freedom of energy and time we talked about earlier. Now, no matter what business you're in or what business you may be thinking about getting into, if I were to take a poll of everyone on the line right now, I guarantee almost every one of you would say, yes, Jeff. I absolutely want to write my own paycheck in life and have complete freedom of energy and time. Well, I'm glad that I'm pretty sure that that would be your answer, because I'm going to show you exactly how to make that happen, and I mean exactly, okay? Now, my warning to you is it will require you to reframe your view of who you are, what you do, and even why you're here. In other words, what you were put here to do. Now, these are things that many technical business owners don't necessarily think about, okay? Which is totally understandable, since running a successful business requires all sorts of hats to be worn, all right? Let's take, for example, Michael Gerber, who wrote the book E-Myth. Okay, your goal is to work on your business and not in it. Okay, that's what Michael's book is about. Now, in order to work on your business, you need to move one level up from the playing field. Okay. Now, I'm a huge college football fan, and you'll notice when you watch any football game on TV, whether college or pro football, that there's a coaching staff on the field, but there's an entirely separate staff up in the booth watching the game from a completely different perspective. Now, whether you have a business or not, this higher view is what you need to immediately adopt for yourself. And the way to do that is to give yourself an immediate promotion. So starting now, you are no longer the CEO of your business or soon-to-be business. You need to become the Chief Expansion Officer starting immediately. So CEO has a new meaning for you, Chief Expansion Officer. Now, unfortunately, some of you might dismiss this as bullcrap, New Age rhetoric, but that would be a huge mistake on your part. I'm here to tell you firsthand that expansion is the foundation on which you will create the business and life you want, starting today, right now, once I give you the rest of the formula. In fact, here's the scientific definition of expansion: an increase in the volume of a substance while its mass remains the same. Now think about how powerful this is from a business perspective. Starting now, you have an opportunity to reach more people, solve more problems for your market, and generate infinitely more revenue for yourself with the same core resources you already possess. Before we get into the specific steps you're going to take starting the moment this webinar ends, I do want to very briefly let you know a little bit more about me, okay? Now, I realize it's cliche, and believe me, I want to get to the good stuff, but as you're going to see, I truly believe you and I are meeting at the very beginning of a massive movement in the entrepreneurial realm. So it's important to me that you know a few things. First, let me tell you some of the real life stuff. All right, I didn't come from a wealthy family. Everything I've created, I've worked for. The difference is I've now learned to work much smarter than harder. I'm originally from a small town in Texas and still live in the Houston, Texas area. So I'm a Texas redneck if there ever was one, and in case you couldn't tell by my accent already, okay? I have a degree in music and almost went to graduate school to become a music conductor. And to this day, one of my favorite things is playing my guitars. I'm still very involved in my music. Now, I also went through a phase where I tried every business opportunity and infomercial product available. And I've been completely, totally can't pay my bills flat broke several times in my life. Now, this is important because any entrepreneur who tells you that everything has been perfect for them is either lying or they're not a real entrepreneur. They probably inherited the business or something like that. The most important skill I've developed is the skill of transcending my circumstances and creating the life I truly desire, which is exactly what you're here to learn for yourself. Now, the greatest tragedy I experienced in my life was when my dad died about 10 years ago, and at the same time I started getting laid off due to constant cutbacks in the market. My dad was my #1 fan and my #1 go-to person on anything I needed, and he was gone. At the same time, and frankly, when I needed my dad the most, I started getting laid off in the IT industry. But here's the cool thing I discovered. Write this down. On the other side of a huge breakdown is an even bigger breakthrough. So that set me on the path to find new mentors and a new career. And once I did that, I was committed to doing the same thing for other people, and I want to do that same thing for you. Now, people talk about having a why. My kids are my why. They're my everything. They're the main reason I jump out of bed in the morning. Now, a lot of times that's because one of them is jumping on me. And they are the reason I fall asleep fast at night and have a lot of peace. I want to leave a legacy for them. And I know the only real way to do that is to help other people create a legacy for themselves and their family. That's why I'm here, okay? That's why I'm here, and that's why I'm glad you're here right now. It's your time. It's your turn. Now, I want to say a few brief words about what I've achieved, okay? This is important, too, because if for some reason you and I never meet, you need to know that today's training is coming from actual experience and not theory. I currently own 3 different businesses, which in total generate multiple 7 figures per year in revenue. I'm considered a top 1% earner in the digital entrepreneurship space, so I'm passionate about the power of the internet, and I love helping business owners of all kinds systemize their businesses using the most advanced digital tools and strategies. I have close relationships with some of the top entrepreneurs and personalities in the world, and I've found that you can't possibly put a price tag on this level of association. I'm what I call a part of and a catalyst for the new world economy, which is the connection economy. It's not about who you know or what you can do. It's all about who knows you. I'm a highly paid speaker, trainer, and consultant, and now garner up to $10,000 or more for every speaking engagement I chose to take. Now, as far as coaching other entrepreneurs, my core specialty is what I call impact businesses. I love helping business owners who are personally invested in making a massive impact on a given industry or niche audience through either exceptional products and services or through exceptional concepts, ideas, and teaching. Along with that, I'm also keenly passionate about systems and automation. In other words, creating or recreating a business that doesn't rely on you running it to the detriment of your energy or time freedom, and that doesn't rely on extensive overhead and so on and so forth. Last but not least, I've donated tens of thousands of dollars to many charities, the biggest of which is St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which I have a huge passion for due to, number one, having kids, and number two, my dad passing from cancer. St. Jude's is a children's cancer research facility. In fact, I recently gave $50,000 at a charity auction supporting St. Jude's so I could sing "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" with Poison's Bret Michaels. And that's a picture there you see on the screen. You should also know I have thousands of students across the U.S., Canada, the UK, Australia, Europe, and elsewhere who have applied my wealth building strategies for massive success. Students like Matt Brown, who is one of the top marketers and top experts in the stocks and futures area. Okay, Eileen Gordon, who is a small business coaching and consultant, one of the top small business coaching and consultants in the world. Ruth Stern, who is one of the top emotional freedom technique practitioners. Al Bargan, who is becoming a pretty famous diet and weight loss expert. Okay, has a really funny weight loss book, which I'm going to be talking about later. And then Gabby Taub, who is an expert and a huge connector in the personal development space. Now, for each one of these people, I could tell you about hundreds more dedicated folks who have learned and applied the strategies that I teach. There's Matt, there's Eileen, there's Ruth, there's Al, and there's Gabby, and tons of others. Okay. Now, but what you need to know is it wasn't always that way for me. In fact, most of the massive success I've had, I listed, most of those massive successes that I listed for myself have come in the last 12 to 18 months, during which time my business literally doubled. So what I want you to do now is I want you to get out some notebook paper, because it's time we go through the exact steps for how you're going to make this happen for yourself and your business. Or even if you don't have a business and you're starting from complete scratch. So introducing your new 5-step wealth creation ladder. Make sure you take some notes on this, okay? These are the exact 5 steps to transform your wealth starting today. All right, step 1. The first step towards real wealth is to establish reality. What this really means is owning where you currently are, being responsible for it, which I find most people are not naturally willing to do without some coaching and guidance. A lot of people aren't willing to put their egos in their back pocket. Don't do that, okay? I call this reality-based thinking. In other words, the willingness to look at your present situation in terms of reality and not ideality. This is exactly what I used to do when I was broke, jumping from thing to thing, trying to get a single business to work. I had an idealistic mindset about what was possible, but I was not operating in reality about where I was financially or what I really needed to do to achieve lasting wealth. All right, let's look at some statistics here. Let's look at some reality, okay? Here is and I'm not sure how well you can see this, but this is a slide of the average U.S. income of all the states in the United States, okay? And it basically averages out to $40,000. That's a reality, okay? Now, let's look at the average Canadian income, okay? You see it's gone up a little bit, but it's still, you know, roughly a little over $50,000, okay? Average Australian income is $66,000. Now remember, British pounds, Australian dollars, U.S. dollars, they're all different. So $66,000 in Australia is maybe about $40,000 in the U.S., okay? Now the average UK income, $26,000, okay? Taxable income, okay? April 2010 median gross weekly earnings for full-time employees were 500 pounds. That's it. So if that's what your reality or somewhere close to it, or even if you are already a top 1% income earner, but you want to take it to the next level, you want to explode it, then you are ready for a huge change. Whatever your reality is right now, I know you're ready for a huge change, or else you wouldn't be on this webinar. So let's look at the top 1% of income earners. The top 1% in Canada is 250,000 Canadian dollars, $350,000 in the U.S., 200,000 pounds in the U.K., and 250,000 Australian dollars, okay? Now, wherever you are currently, it's your turn to be in the top 1% of income earners starting now. Now, the second step towards real wealth is to establish visibility. To be visible in your chosen industry or niche is critical, especially in a world economy that is getting more complex and cluttered each day. Your job, again, is to rise above the fray to get you and your business or mission seen by those who will be most impacted by it. But how do you do that? There's a common saying we've all heard that says, it's all about who you know. Well, I can tell you from experience, that is completely wrong. As one of my top coaches and advisors taught me, it's not about who you know, it's all about who knows you. I was talking about that earlier. There's a massive difference between the two. Think about your current business or business idea or passion or mission you've thought about pursuing, and ask yourself honestly, how many people know about what you do or what you want to do? More importantly, how many people of influence know about it? Again, there's a huge difference, and I'm going to help you finally break through in this area. There are many visibility strategies I'll be teaching you, but here are a few key ones used by the top 1%. Be sure to write these down. Number one is start a compelling and influential blog on the internet. You would be amazed at how quickly word spreads and about you when you simply devote a little time each week to communicating